Hashtag Psychotherapy Unfogged with Mark Fielding.
Hello, welcome to Series 6, Episode 10 of Hashtag Psychotherapy Unfogged. As you know, I'm Mark Fielding, relationship counsellor, psychotherapist and ADHD coach, and your host today. As our regular listeners will know, we've had a bit of a hiatus really. We haven't put out a show for 3 months. Joe and I have had some personal stuff going on. I've moved. We'll maybe get into that as the kind of series goes forwards. But we're in the great position of having interviewed somebody yesterday and having also another great person to interview today. So we're really making up for lost time here. I'd really like to thank you, Judy, for coming on the show. And I just want to introduce you to our listeners. We obviously had a chat before the show, so I've got to know you a little bit. So I'd like to introduce Julie Leatherland Timms, counselling psychotherapist, clinical hypnotherapist, mindset, style, colour and body confidence coach. Is that, you do other stuff as well, but is that about right?
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up, Mark.
Okay.
Well, when you say it, you think, oh gosh, it's taken a long time for me to get here.
Definitely.
It has taken me a long time.
And I really want to start, when we had our chat and you sent me your bio as well, goodness me, you've had such an interesting life. So could I just ask you about your experiences kind of earlier as a croupier and your travelling of the world? I mean, I can't really put it any other way. Really, you've been everywhere, haven't you? Could I ask a little bit around that earlier time for you?
Yes, of course. We've got a casino here in Northampton. It was was called the Rubicon, and it was a really, really big employer. It's one of those kind of places where most people worked in there in some kind of capacity. And my cousin, who's a few years older than me, worked there, and then suddenly she went to work on the cruise ships. We got a postcard from her, and I said to my mum and dad, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. Hadn't got a clue what a croupier was, just thought it sounds absolutely wonderful. So when I was 18, I applied, did the training, stayed there. Then I moved to Luton, London. Then I worked in the south of France, worked in South Africa. This is all in casinos. Then I worked on the cruise ships for a few years. And then I got to the stage where I thought, enough's enough. Working on the cruise ship's really good fun if you make the most of it. I've been to some absolutely fabulous places, but it's quite an artificial life. I was saying that to my friend the other day, because you don't have to do anything. You have a cabin boy who makes your bed. You have someone that does your laundry. You have someone that cooks your meals. So it's quite an artificial life. And if you're not careful, you really get sucked into it, and you kind of lose a bit of touch of reality in a way. So I decided then to step back from it. But I was in casinos for about 11, 12 years.
Oh wow, that's a big part of your life.
Yeah,
wow,
there it
11
was.
years. Yeah, and just picking out, I mean, you've been to so many places and done so many things, and it does sound really glamorous. I mean, I have to say, croupier, I know nothing really about that industry, but croupier sounds a very kind of glamorous type of job, really. I mean, I guess it's evening working, is it? Maybe that's the negative of it, yeah.
It is. And everyone kind of associates it with like the James Bond films, you know, people in beautiful dresses. But the reality is you're dealing with gamblers. And unfortunately, you don't often get many nice gamblers. So you tend to see the other side of human nature. The depravity. I've had people throw ashtrays at me. I've had people throw chairs at me. I've had people overturn tables. Not all the while. I've seen grown men cry. I've seen grown men throw tantrums. I've seen someone have a heart attack at the table, which is quite distressing. So you've got that really dark side of casinos as well, and so like we all said, it's not all kind of glamorous, and there is actually a dark side of it, because it is gambling at the end of the day, and people are gambling money that they probably can't afford to gamble.
No, yeah. So I guess you see the kind of, I don't know, the darker side of life. Often people losing lots of money they haven't got, and yeah, I mean, so that I guess well, it's like that must make the job quite hard. Actually, I mean, if that happens a lot.
It does, but I think that it's like anything, you become hardened to it. Nobody forces people to gamble, and that sounds quite mercenary. But there is help and support out there. But then it's up to people if they take that help and support. Going back all those years, there wasn't as much as help and support as there is now. Like you see on the telly about kind of things that they put in place.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's people's choices if they come into the casino or not. And I know that sounds, like I said before, really mercenary, but nobody dragged them in. Everyone made a choice if they went into the casino or not.
Yeah, I mean, we all have autonomy, don't we? I mean, that's a really nice segue into how you trained as a clinical hypnotherapist. But before I make that segue, I've got to ask you about the trip down the Amazon on that if I remember this right, the only cruise ship that could go down the Amazon, was it? Do I remember that correctly?
Yeah, it was. The ship was called the World Renaissance, and it was the only ship in the world at the time that could go down the Amazon because of the way that she was built. She was really, really top heavy. And I remember going down there, and it was the water was quite a muddy brown. But all I can remember was it looked like floating broccoli on the sides of the banks, kind of going down there. And we went to a place, and I'm not quite sure if I'm pronouncing this correct. I called it Manaus, which is right in the heart of Brazil. And we were there for 4 days, and we were fortunate enough to get off and have a trip in the Amazon. And I always remember our guide said to us, "See that tree over there?" And he picked up this stone or rock and he threw it at this tree, and this whacking great big spider kind of went up the tree, and we were all like, kind of dead on tender hooks, like looking around thinking, but it was an amazing experience, absolutely amazing experience. And how many people can say that they've sailed down the Amazon?
No, not many. I mean, I have to say, even though I'm a psychotherapist, I really don't like spiders. So, yeah, just the thought of that is horrifying.
Yeah, and I don't like spiders either. A bit of a paradox being a therapist, but that certainly was a racket, and it's just how it blended into the tree. Wow. That's what got me. It was like, and I can still see it in my mind's eye now, and it was generally a big spider, and I'm like,
right.
But such an experience there, Mark.
Yeah, amazing. And then I guess in terms, I mean, just going back to the casinos. So then you got involved, or you were asked to get involved in GamStop, and then you trained GamCare, and then you trained to be a counselling psychotherapist and hypnotherapist. Is that where? Yeah. Could you say a bit about that, Julie?
Yeah, so GamCare approached me and said they would. So GamCare is like the governing body for gamblers. So they wanted to do this initiative to help gamblers, and asked me if I would be interested. So I went down to London, had meetings with them. And part of their initiative was me to train to be a counsellor, so I could have that. So GamCare actually funded the first 2 years of my counselling or hypnotherapy, counselling, psychotherapy qualification. Then unfortunately I got made redundant. So, because I was working as a branch casino administrator in Northampton, just out of the blue, all of us administrators got made redundant. And alongside that went the initiative with GamCare and also as well as the administration role. So I actually funded the last year of it myself. I thought, well, I've come this far. So then suddenly I'm thinking, okay, let's start my own business like you do. So I actually started practicing as a clinical hypnotherapist with basic counselling skills and built up my private practice from there.
And working initially, I don't know whether this is still the case, Julie, but working initially with men. You worked a lot with men, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I do. And even now, the majority of my clients are men. I think when I first started, there wasn't that many women therapists about. It tended to be predominantly male.
Okay.
So I think that with a woman who's working with men, I think you kind of give up a vibe as well, that people or men felt comfortable working with me. I think because I'm very practical, I'm very down to earth. I tend to call a spade. I'm that kind of person. So if they didn't want the atypical feminine woo-woo airy fairy type of lady, nothing wrong with that, then I kind of attracted that type. And I think even now, that's why even now most of my clients are still male.
Yeah, and I remember this from your bio. That's kind of your USP, really, isn't it? You know, practical. Yes. You know, nothing wrong with woo-woo, of course.
No, absolutely not.
But that's not the way you work. You're direct, practical. No. You know, and then the working with and also working with men in larger bodies. I mean, that is also something that you've done, that you do. And I just wonder, could you? We'll talk about this a little bit actually, but could you say a little bit around working with men in larger bodies and the kind of distress maybe that these men would bring?
I think as myself, as a larger atypical apple shape, I get it. I think that the larger body, I know that we've spoken about this before, Mark, about the discrimination.
Yes.
So I find that men don't consult me for being in a larger body per se. They normally consult me because of something else that is a byproduct of having the larger body. So it could be that they don't feel very confident going for a job, a promotion, getting a girlfriend or a boyfriend, depending which floats their boat, or in the bedroom. So it's kind of a byproduct of having the larger body that people seem to consult me for.
Yeah, and the discriminate. I mean, it's something. I mean, I work, also with people in larger bodies, men and women, and I don't know. It just breaks my heart, the discrimination. I'm going to be completely honest. I mean, it's not always the case, but often I think it is. I mean, some of the stories that I hear around the open discrimination, I don't know. Claims is a classic one, isn't it? But it's just it is discrimination. I mean, that's the only word for it, really. People have to go through life with this kind of level of discrimination, and the effect on their self-confidence is obvious. It strips their self-confidence. They feel awkward, and then if that's okay, that kind of brings me. I'm struggling because you bring so much. I'm struggling to bring it all in, but this is a bit of a tenuous link. But you also, as well as kind of providing therapy and the emotional support, you also provide practical support in terms of clothing. You train to be a personal color analyst. Bit of a segue. But could you, just to bring in your two kind of the two domains that you bring into your work, could you say a little bit, Julie, about what that is? I don't know what that is, a personal color analyst.
Yeah, so imagine if you've got a man and or a woman who is bigger in stature. Say I tend to
Sure.
work predominantly with apple-shaped people, so that's kind of people who carry weight around their midsection. So the therapeutic side is dealing with the mindset for them to understand the reasons why they're thinking, feeling, behaving the way that they do. So that's kind of the counselling, coaching, psychotherapy side of it. The practical side of it is, okay, you're an apple shape. Let's have a look at what clothes are going to either hide, disguise, or minimize that apple shape. Yeah, you can do as much exercise as you want. You can go on as many diets as you want. We've all got a basic body shape.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. Yeah.
Yep. And if you're in apple shape and you carry your weight around the middle, okay, let's work with it. And there is hints and tips and the art of distraction that can help, like I said, disguised, hide, to minimize that apple shape. And also as well, with color analysis, it's all about helping people to discover what colors actually suit their, what we call their undertone. So everyone is born with an undertone, so it's either going to be a warm undertone or a cool undertone, and it's something that you can't physically see. Our overtone is what we describe people as, if they're black, white, pale, tanned, where our undertone is more genetic, and certain colours suit either a warm or a cool undertone. And that's what I do as well, is help people to understand what undertone they are and what colours are going to suit them better. So we've all wore a colour where people say, oh, you look really good. You've been on holiday. You look really rested. I mean, it could be anything. It could be a top, a pair of glasses. It could be anything. Or we wear clothes that make us all look tired, ill, not that great, that seem to drain the life out of us. That's because you're wearing the wrong clothes for your undertone.
And I guess with a lot of these men coming into a consulting room, I guess that I mean, they've probably had years of bullying and discrimination, and how would that reflect in the clothes that they would wear when they come to see you? I mean, would they be hiding or covering it up? Yeah.
Hiding is a brilliant word there, Mark. And they tend to wear the big black baggy clothes.
Yeah. Okay.
So kind of, which is a bit of a paradox because they just make you look bigger. But people have this kind of psychological thing. If I wear black, it's going to make me look slimmer. There's me sitting with a black top on. But black's great if it suits you, but not many people actually suit the colour black. So wearing these big black baggy shapeless outfits that they think are actually kind of hiding both their body and themselves from the world isn't. All it's doing is show more emphasis on them.
And I guess it reinforces that belief that's been handed to them by society and other people that they have to hide. Really, I mean, why should they have to hide? I mean, this is society's problem, really, isn't it? I mean, so you must see a lot of transformation, I guess, because you're dealing with the emotional and the practical aspects of the clothing. I mean, goodness, I mean, that's, I mean, obviously you can't talk about your clients, but can you give me like some of the transformations you've seen? Could you just say a bit generally around what you see, the men leaving after working with you?
I think the biggest thing is self-acceptance, and I kind of bang on about that. And I think with self-acceptance, it's all about trusting yourself. And it kind of sounds a little bit twee, you know, and when I say to the people that I work with, what we're working towards is self-acceptance. I want you to look in the mirror and actually say, I'm okay.
Yeah.
So what if I've got a big tummy? So what if I've got big thighs? So what if I've got big shoulders or got a little bit of man boobs? It's actually okay. And I think that especially apple-shaped people, we tend to let our tummies, our bellies rule our lives, let it define us.
Okay.
Where in reality, it's just a part of our body. And I think as well, I always find with weight or kind of discrimination is that it's very, very visual when people have a weight problem, because you can't hide it. If somebody's hooked on cocaine, smokes, drinks, you can't actually physically see it.
Yeah.
But with the weight, it's like saying to the world, hey, I've got a problem. You can see it here. And I think that's another thing that kind of working with people is to say, okay, so you've got a problem, you know, let's not hide it. Let's kind of explore where it's come from and what we can do to help change it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess with that comes renewed self-confidence, you know, and you're also treating the emotional side. And I'm guessing, I mean, probably some of these men are depressed, anxious. So you're dealing with, I mean, it's really interesting what you do, because you're dealing with two really, really interesting complementary domains, really, with your clients.
And the thing is, like you said, Mark, I think that you can't have one without the other. I think if you don't deal with the mindset, all you're doing is just papering over the cracks, where you've got a man dressing to his body shape, but he's never ever going to feel that he's good enough. If you then just deal with the physical side of it, so the way that I work is that you have to have both of them. You've got to have both that mental, emotional mindset detox to understand where these unhelpful and limiting beliefs come from, but then also you have to have the practical stuff as well, that then they can physically see and think, actually, if I do tuck my shirt into my trousers that fit me properly and wear a nice jacket, then yes, automatically the eye is going to slim me down, and I can see that in the mirror. That's kind of very, very tangible.
Yeah, and wearing clothes that, you know, that of a statement rather than kind of hiding. Could I ask you, and I'll share with you what I think. I mean, what do you think about the media and how people in the media, how people are portrayed in the media that have larger bodies? Well, I mean, what do you see, Julie?
What makes me really sad is there isn't any role models for men that have a larger body.
No, that's true.
And you know, I'm not advocating that being big is brilliant. You know, I'm not saying, you know, we all know that there is health risks to having a larger body, but people are on their own journey. You know, a lot of people these days, you know, like with the weight loss jabs or Slimming World or Weight Watchers or going keto or whatever, you know, people want to do. There isn't any role models for larger men or any positives saying, okay, this is where you are at the moment, but where do you want to go? What do you want to be? And everything seems to be for women, but there's hardly anything out there for men. And I think as well with men, men don't like to talk about it.
No.
And that's what I find is men don't like to talk about it. Women, we're quite happy to talk to our girlfriends, our mums, our next door neighbours, auntie's cat.
Yeah.
But men don't like to say, actually, I'm really struggling here.
No.
You know, I find shopping a nightmare. I can't find clothes that fit. I don't know what to wear. I don't know what kind of personality style I am anymore, or I don't know who I am. And then also you got the flip side as well of people who maybe do lose weight, especially men, and thinking, how do I dress now?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, absolutely. And I think that is really true. I mean, there is a bit more. I mean, in terms of social media, Instagram, etc., there is a little bit more for women in terms of women coming out with body positivity. I mean, that is, I mean, you know, there's still a lot of work to be done in that area, I have to say, but it is changing. But you're so right. There are no body positive role models for men. I mean, I've never actually seen that, to be honest. But you're completely right what you say.
Yeah,
there's none, are there?
No, and even things like dressing for an apple body shape. If you go onto YouTube, I mean, I love YouTube and watch a lot of videos on YouTube. If you put in dressing for an apple body, there is probably 95 videos for women and maybe 5 for men.
Yeah.
Maybe not even that many, maybe 97 for women, 3 for men. So to me, that kind of shows that, you know, people might argue and say, well, there's not a market for it. Well, there is, because It's because people aren't talking about it.
No.
So where do men go to get inspiration, to get styling tips, to get that help, that support, that confirmation that having an apple body shape is okay, and there is ways that you can style it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, it's totally true. There were no, or barely any positive, you know, body role models for men in larger bodies. I mean, what was I going to? I forgot what I was going to ask.
Pull you off his stroke then.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get Joe to edit that bit. No, I mean, I was going to say, I mean, in terms of kind of men and, you know, and social. No, that's what I was going to pick up. I was going to pick up on men internalizing, because you work with a lot of men. You know, I work with a lot of men as well, and I know it's a generalization. You know, women will internalize as well, but I think as a lot of men won't talk. They'll just shut up shop. They maybe won't talk to their friends. You know, they might see their friends. Will they be having a conversation around things that are making them feel vulnerable?
No.
Probably not. And that's probably something you've seen a lot, is it, Julie, over the years, working with so many men?
Oh gosh, yeah. I can't imagine James down the pub saying to his mate, "Here, Bill, do you reckon my bum looks big in these trousers?" You know, or I went into Topshop and tried a shirt on and stoned the crows. I couldn't get it over my belly.
Yeah.
You just cannot imagine that conversation happening.
No.
Internalizing, thinking, oh my gosh, you know, I've gone to Topshop and I can't get anything to fit. Or I look in the mirror and think, you know, like, who's this bloke staring back at me? But like you say, it's this internalization. Is it going to change? I think if people talk about it more, it's going to change, Mark.
Yeah.
I think if, you know, kind of people say, actually, it is okay to get help and support and say, I'm struggling. You know, I want to look nice. I want to feel nice. I want to feel sexy. I want to feel attractive. You know, I want to get that promotion. I want to start my own business. I want children or whatever. You know, the reasons behind it. But that all then starts with that conversation, doesn't it?
And do you find that men find it easier to open up to a woman? Because I guess they don't really have that much problem, from what you say, opening up to you. I mean, do you think it's easier for them, probably because you are female, to open up?
I think,
depending on the man, of course.
Yeah, I mean, same again. Kind of, I think it's going back to that being quite practical, being quite blunt, calling that, you know, a spade, you know, kind of, okay, what really is the problem? You're here. I mean, you've been a psychotherapist, as you know, what problem normally comes into the room, or the presenting problem is not normally that problem.
That's right.
So it's kind of getting them to make that initial contact under whatever pretext it is, and then getting them to prise that door open and actually getting to the root cause of what the problem is, I think is the biggest challenge of being a therapist. And you tend to find that once you do, then men are absolutely brilliant clients. Absolutely brilliant.
It's just that building trust, and it's so true what you say. I mean, often people that kind of, you know, that come into your consulting room will be talking about one thing, and then 4 or 5 sessions in, you'll be talking about something completely different. You might even come back to that first thing. You know, I mean, that is very, very true. And I guess in terms of things changing for men, I mean, I guess I see some change with the younger generations, but I've got to be honest, I still think there's a long way to go. I think men have, you know, unbelievably, you know, even with like Gen Z, and men are still getting this messaging that they have to man up, not share their feelings. I mean, it's very frustrating as a therapist that men are still getting that, you know, messaging from society, although it is a little bit better now, I would say, you know, but I think there's a way to go, honestly. And this is why the suicide rate is so high for men, isn't it? Because men don't talk about it, you know.
And I know you said about it changing. I think it is in one way, but it's not in another. I think the only problem is that with social media, it's so visual. That's the only problem. And also, as well, going back to it being realistic, you've got filters, you've got editing. So the only problem is that what we see on the screen these days, we don't know if it's reality. Also, as well, with AI, can't know what we're actually seeing is true. So you might have, you know, all these chaps or chapesses with these looks like perceived perfect bodies, but that's not reality. That is not reality. I was writing something for my website, and something like with men, the perfect, and I use this word very, very loosely, the perfect body shape is, now I think it's called trapezius, I think that's how you pronounce it, or the inverted triangle, which is where they've got the broad shoulders and kind of goes down that way. It's only about 2% of all the men.
I mean, I did not know that, and this is what all the men are aspiring to, isn't it?
So they look at, you know, people like Daniel Craig, who's supposed to have the perfect body shape, Jason Statham, and they look David Beckham, and they look and they think, I want to look like that. But if you haven't got that body shape, then yes, you can diet, you can exercise, you can wear clothes. But I just think it's setting that up for unrealistic expectations.
And disappointment.
Rather than accepting what you've got and saying, okay, I've got this, I'm going to work with this, and I'm going to feel good and look and good and feel confident about myself and feel really good in my own skin.
And I guess, you know, I mean, this has been going on for women for years, hasn't it? You know, the portrayal of, you know, certain sort of women. I mean, it was all the supermodels years ago. Now it's social media. You know, I mean, like even now online, I follow a few kind of PTs online, and oh my God, the pressure. You know, and men, it's you know. It's the kind of same thing for men now, isn't it? They aspire to have like a Daniel Craig body, and they're born with a body shape that's never going to be that. So they constantly feel like they're failing, and the aim is just not right. You know, I guess when you're talking about acceptance, I mean, that is a big part of it, isn't it? I'm conscious of the time, and I just wanted to ask you, Julie, is there anything that I could have asked you that I've not given you the opportunity to talk about?
No, I think we've covered an awful lot. I think that, you know, for any men out there that's listening, or ladies as well, is if you are struggling, seek help. There is nothing weak or or whatever about saying, actually, I'm struggling. You know, I want to look good, I want to feel good. It's nothing at all to do with vanity. It's about making the best or the most of what you've got. And I think that if you trust yourself to go through the process and work with me and work with yourself and accept yourself, warts and all, then the world's your oyster. Literally, you can then do anything that you want to do. If you want that job, if you want to start your business, if you want to travel the world, if you know, want to find a partner, if you want to have better sex, if you want just to be congruent and happy in your life.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a nice message. And if people want to get hold of you, I mean, obviously, we'll put all of your links, I'll get all of your contact details, put them all with the show notes. But if people want to get hold of you, how do they, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you, Julie?
Yeah, the best way to do is phone. I do like to talk, so I think the phone is the best way of contacting me or emailing me if people aren't that confident at talking. I'm just literally waiting for my new website. Unfortunately, my web designer passed away a few weeks ago, literally right in the middle of building my new website up, so everything's a little bit up in the air at the moment. So yeah, bless him, he was fighting cancer but he didn't make it. So so at the moment, phone or social media. I'm on Facebook, TikTok and LinkedIn.
Okay, brilliant. And I'll get all of that information from you and put it up with the show notes. But just for now, Julie, I just want to say, you know, thank you so much for coming on the show to talk about something that I think is very, very important. And perhaps in a future series, we could do this again. It's such an important area, you know, so it's been really fantastic to have you on, and it's been lovely to see you again.
Yeah, and thank you for inviting me, Mark. I've really enjoyed it, and I generally hope that, you know, anyone out there that's listening to this and it's affecting them thinks, actually, there is hope, you know. And I think life without hope is very sad, that there is people out there that do care and people who do it with the best intentions of helping you to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lovely ending. Thank you. And once again, I'd like to thank Julie so much for coming on the show. Such an important area, talking about the support that Julie provides and the discrimination often experienced by people in larger bodies. Such an important area to talk about. So it was really, really great to get Julie on. So interested in Julie's life story as well. Goodness me, she's had such an interesting life. Starting off as a croupier and working all over the world in all sorts of different areas. Absolutely fascinating. And also thought the combination of emotional support and also the practical help in terms of clothes and what to wear in order to, I don't know, increase confidence. And for primarily her client group, which are men, I thought was really, really interesting. And it was a very, very interesting interview, and I just want to thank Julie so much for coming on. As our regular listeners will know, we haven't put out a show for a while. That's going to change. I've got some really, really good, interesting guests lined up. Joe and I, as I said in the intro, have had quite a lot going on, so we haven't been able to put out a show, but lots and lots more really, really good shows hopefully coming up. Really interesting people. I'm trying at the moment to secure a guest for October because it is ADHD Awareness Month, So I'm going to try and get a guest on to talk a little bit more about ADHD, as in the whole point of the month to promote ADHD awareness, ADHD being something that is often very, very misunderstood by lots and lots of people. And if you are really enjoying the show and you want to see the videos, please do check out the YouTube channel. Hashtag Psychotherapy Unfogged, Mark Fielding. As I've said in previous outros, the YouTube channel doesn't do very well at all in numbers. Joe and I are thinking about getting somebody in to kind of help with that. The audio does really well, the YouTube not so much. It is quite a different beast, but I'm still putting the shows up. We've got probably the whole of the last series and a few from the series before, so I haven't got all of the videos for the 5/6 shows that we have done. Joe sent me a message the other day saying that it's 5 years since our first podcast, which is kind of amazing, really, that we've been doing this for 5 years. Had some brilliant guests on. And also, Joe had an idea that perhaps in the next series we would um, interview lots and lots of our previous guests and have that series around reconnecting with previous guests, which I thought was a great idea. So we might well do that, actually. Um, I've kind of went back and listened to some of the hashtag Never Alone the other day, which was where we started, really, Joe being the host, me being the co-host, and I think they really stand up. Some of those are really, really good. Most of them are really, really good. Joe is bringing another film out soon, so more content there, and we'll probably get Joe on the show again and maybe some of the cast to talk about the film once it's out. If you are enjoying the show, please do like and subscribe. It's really, really important for us in so many different ways. And please do leave comments. As I always say, Joe and I love the comments. If anyone you think would be really good to interview, please do get in touch and let us know. But for now, I just want to thank you all for listening. And as I always say, look after yourselves, look after each other, and look after the planet. And I will see you really soon on the next episode. Thanks for listening.